Hey guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. And thank you so much for the support. And when I was just telling you what I want to try to do with my channel and how I want to be true to myself, thank you for the support. I so appreciate it. I mean, I really do. I really do. And I love the comments. And somebody said in the chat that they really liked the community because we were nice to each other and there was a lot of respect, and I agree. And I think that I responded to somebody and I didn't mean to respond to them, and they said to me, hey, I don't think that you meant to respond to me, and listen. So I appreciate that grace, allowing to step back and say, did you say this, didn't you say this, and that's cool. Anyway, yes, I always appreciate the back and forth in communications, and I appreciate my stuff being in any country. I get things from Sweden, from Denmark. I get, that's great. So I'm grateful and thankful for that. So let's talk about some stuff. As you guys know, in the 8 passengers, more stuff has come out about Ruby Franke. So I'm sure most of you know, Ruby Franke had a channel with her husband, Kevin Franke, and their 6 kids, and the name of the channel was called 8 Passengers, and they had about 2.2 million followers, subscribers, and they had a platform that reached, I mean, if they had 2.2 million subscribers, imagine how many people viewed the videos. How many people took the advice? How many people saw her abuse her kids by taking food away, taking bedding away, threatening to cut the head off of one of her kids' teddy bears, making them clean, finding out that they had to now kneel on their knees without any kind of padding, how they had to run into a cactus. What happens to a person to make them get that enjoyment? How does somebody enjoy watching somebody suffer, especially a child? Better yet, their child. So, you guys know we talk about Scientology, right? So, when the parents in Scientology let go of their children so that they're cared for by somebody else, when they were children, did they really believe, or was that what they saw for their child in the future? That, I mean, when you have children, don't you think, oh, I'm going to enhance their life, they're going to enhance my life, I'm going to have a family, it's going to be like, isn't that why people tend to have children? How does it go from that to hands off, I'm going to let these people raise my kid, or I'm going to let this person handle my kid? In the meantime, there's abuse going on. There's abuse going on in Scientology with children, and there was abuse going on with Ruby Franke and her kids even before Jodi Hildebrandt, right? That's what they say. But we've at least seen, and I've only seen the videos since, because I didn't know anything about 8 Passengers up until that little boy came running out of that house asking for food and water. And he just wanted food and water, and then he wanted to go back and, I guess, tie himself up. Now, I can understand a child fearing for their life, but I can't understand how a parent could allow it to get that far. I don't understand. There had to be evil inside of Ruby Franke, and I totally believe that there was. And I think that Jodi just gave her even a bigger venue to perpetrate it, to just keep on going. So Ruby and Jodi, they both have been found guilty. I'm sorry, not found guilty. They've admitted to they've said that they're guilty of 4 of the 6 charges, right? Ruby, 4 of the 6 charges. And each sentence holds 1 to 15 years, which she will do consecutively, one after the other. Ruby was the parent here. Ruby gave up control of her children to somebody else and then helped behave in fashion that was heinous, was horrendous. How does that happen? Why did it take so long for this little boy to risk his life, literally? Look at what these kids have to go through now. Look what they have to go through now. Now Kevin Franke is suing for his kids, supposedly, because they're going to need years of therapy. Again, it reminds me of the Scientology. That little boy, RF, he said that it wasn't his fault. I mean, that it wasn't his mom's fault, but that it was his fault. He said that. He told the police that. He was 8, 10. The sister was younger, EF. Very much like the Scientology. And the reason why I bring it up is because there's a cultish, like, people's beliefs, people were persuaded, people were manipulated by one person, and that was Jodi Hildebrandt. But the crimes that occurred are definitely Ruby's responsibility just as well. Because Jodi, she manipulated a lot of people's homes and got into a lot of people's homes and such, right? Steed, the guy that was from the Boy Scouts, the one that spoke up, okay? The one that Jodi Hildebrandt lost her license for a short period of time. Adam Steed, I think is his name. He stood up and said, I'm not leaving the house. He fought for his family. His family he didn't get to keep, but he fought for them. Kevin Franke did not do that. Kevin Franke walked away from his family because somebody told him so.
And I grew strong, and I learned how to get along, and so you're back from outer space.
Are you kidding me? Is that how easy it is to walk away from your family because somebody tells you so? And then if your wife says, listen, I can't, wouldn't you still say, okay, you can't, but our kids? That's when you fight for the right for your kids. You don't let your kids go there if you think it's wrong. So Kevin Franke, just as bad. You knew what was going on. You behaved in the manner because of your oldest son. and you didn't care enough to find out what the hell's going on. You saw enough red flags, but you figured, I won't look. That's just as bad. You weren't there to protect your kids. You ask them if it's just as bad to claim ignorance, to claim weakness. Come on, man. Own it. It's terrible what you did. So Kevin Franke, you know, I have a problem with the sisters in that family too, and I'll tell you why. And I feel like I can. I feel like, listen, remember I told you guys that I had an issue with my dad a few years before he died? Well, a few years before we got back in contact with each other, right? So I felt like my dad was allowing my nieces and nephew to be in harm's way. So I stood up, and it wasn't a popular move. It caused a disconnection between me and my dad. But, you know, you got to stand up and do what's right. Sometimes it's not comfortable. Sometimes it's not. But you still got to do it. These women on YouTube making all this money claiming, yeah, we saw it. No, we're going to disconnect now. They got on the heels of their sister with her YouTube channel. And then they fucking hung her out to dry too. I want nothing to do with her now. Well, I want nothing to do with her. We saw it all, but we didn't want to say. What are we supposed to say? Our sister's doing the wrong thing? Yes! Yes! Especially when you see it firsthand. The neighbors did it. Yes! Absolutely. My problem with all of this is that so many people kept stum about it. So many people just didn't say anything. And then people did say something, and then the police did nothing. So when people finally, and it was the YouTubers, right? And neighbors, right? The people that watch YouTube and the neighbors that would see the kids working in the lawn and stuff, and they were calling and asking for help for the kids. And because the door wasn't answered, CPS, the calls were ignored, and nothing was there to help these children. It took the children to help the children. That's sad. Something's wrong with that. We see it in Scientology too. You see that. I mean, we know that there's problems in Scientology. People are coming out and talking about it. What's it going to take for that to stop? What's it going to take? So, Ruby Franke, as we know, threw Jodi Hildebrandt under the bus, completely under the bus. I was manipulated. I was scared. I don't know. I didn't know any better. I'm an idiot. They're both, I believe, in the same jail, right? Probably in the same wing, but not together, I don't believe. They might be in protective units because there's, I guess, for their own safety, that could be the case. Either which way, things are totally different for them. You could see that. However, it's a little suspicious because didn't Ruby Franke like have a smile on her face when she appeared in court to say that she was guilty? That's weird, right? Yeah, so that was a little suspicious when I saw her entering the court with a smile on her face. Like, I don't understand that. She didn't look horrible. Jodi looked more ragged, I guess. You know, snakes, they can pretty much adapt to anything. And I think that Ruby is a snake. I'm not sure what Jodi is. She's going to have it. I think that Jodi's actually going to have a harder time in her head, like, relating to what's going on, and to be able to like accept what's going on here. I don't know that Jodi, I mean that I don't know that Jodi is going to be smarter than the average inmate. Where I don't think Ruby, I think Ruby can kind of, she'll just adapt. But I think Jodi's going to get in her own way a lot of times, and she's going to get beat down quite a bit. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but that's the impression that I get. So Jodi Hildebrandt, her home is gone on market for $5.1 million, and Kevin again is supposedly trying. So they want to stop the sale of the home until they get the restitution figured out, because if Jodi sells the home and the money is hers before she could take it and put it in anybody's name and safeguard it and for whenever she gets out of jail, because at some point, unless somebody kills her, she's going to get out of jail, because even if she did, like, I don't know, I guess if she had 60 years, but I don't know that she's actually going to get that. That would be 15 years for that. I think she's got the same 4 counts that she. I really, I shouldn't really speak for what Jodi has. I need to look into that. I should just really focus on Ruby. But I think Jodi's just going to have a harder time. I don't think she's near as likable. I don't think Jodi is near as likable as Ruby can be. And I think that there's a lot of inmates that are going to want to take Jodi down a couple pegs. Nobody's going to be happy about what they did to those kids. Not any of those inmates are going to be happy about that. So, but if they want to get her, they're going to get her. And, she's probably going to, at some point, do some sort of work program once she gets to prison. Again, everybody that ends up in prison has gone to jail first. Jail is where they keep you until until you're guilty. If you haven't met bond, you go to jail, and then if you get more time, you go on to prison. So right now they're in jail, and I think prison, it might be a little easier. I think you get more into a routine. It's not so much just in, prisons are larger. Their grounds are bigger. There's a lot more opportunity to do things there, where jails are just basically to keep you away from the public because you're dangerous in some way, shape, or form. And then while you're there in the jail, the responsibility of the COs are to just make sure that you're safe from yourself and each other. So that's what's going on there. They're not getting any great food or anything. They're getting commissary, which are the ramen noodles, hot sauce, Cheese Whiz, all generic, and maybe some microwave popcorn. I mean, they're just, I see Ruby that's going to be able to adapt with this, and she's going to be able to go there in her mind. She's going to be able to adapt. But I don't see Jodi Hildebrandt being able to adapt to this situation. I don't see that happening. But that's all right, because they don't deserve to adapt to the situation. It shouldn't be at all comfortable for them. And it shouldn't be. Not at all. In any way, shape, or form should it be comfortable for the way that they treated those children. And I still have the huge problem that this behavior was complained to, the separation of the families, that the Mormon Church knew about it and still They promoted Jodi. They promoted her teaching. She has, the Mormon Church needs to be held accountable for some of this as well. And because they let this happen. They let it go on. So guys, February 20th, from my understanding, is when Ruby Franke, and I think Jodi Hildebrandt as well, is going to get their sentencing. So, you know, I can only hope that they do an awful lot of time. I don't know what their children are supposed to do with the memory of what their mom has done to them. You know. Anyway, guys, horrible story. Horrible story. Thank you, guys. I so appreciate you. Thank you again for allowing me to be part of your day. Please like, subscribe, share, follow, all that stuff. If you don't like me, you can unsubscribe from me later. Thank you again. And guys, don't forget, be better today than you were yesterday, but not half as good as you're going to be tomorrow. Communicate in the chat. I look forward to it. This is Toddy One Skip. Thanks, guys.